There you go. I screwed up already. What's going on, everybody? This is Moulton's Mind and Body. I'm your host, Jeff Moulton. I'd like to welcome you back to the podcast. And if you're new, I appreciate you tuning in. So I haven't been on in a little while, so it's been a very crazy few months. It's probably been about a month since I've actually recorded a podcast. But that being said, we're back. We got a lot of big things coming, whether it's my coaching service, which will be relaunching this weekend, committing kind of full-time to that, also getting these podcasts back going, bringing a bunch of guests on, and trying to just put out a lot more content for you guys, bring people on this podcast that I think have a great story, can inspire you guys a little bit, to push yourself a little bit farther. And then I thought this would be a perfect way to come back, as I have a friend of mine, which I'll be bringing on today, which I'll introduce to you shortly. Someone that I've known probably almost 7 or 8 years now, and kind of way back to back when I was 20, 21 years old. And I think, he's over the past few years and handful of years taken a lot of big steps in direction and helped kind of him improve his own life. He's kind of been doing his own little entrepreneur adventure. And then, I'll let him tell more about the story, but I think, he's someone that a lot of people can look up to and step out of their comfort zone and try to do something maybe they have wanted to do for a long time. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome my good friend, Andres Ramirez, to the podcast.
Hey, what's up, Jeff? Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. So I know this was kind of last minute. We kind of put this together, but I thought it would be perfect with me coming back, with these podcasts coming forward. I thought you'd be a good guest because with me anyway, I have a lot of things on my life coming, and I feel like I could relate to you more than ever over the last couple months because of the steps you've taken with the Funkbox Studio, with your dancing and kind of stepping onto your own, craft, trying to do your own thing, which is what I'm trying to do now. So, and I think a lot of people would like to do at some point. So I guess the first question I have is kind of, let's let people know about you a little bit better. Is what got you into dance in general? What led to, eventually moving you of wanting to do your own studio?
Yeah. So actually, as a child, I wasn't much of a dancer, and I kind of just started watching TV, like the dance shows, America's Best Dance Crew,
Sure.
So You Think You Can Dance and stuff like that. And I saw breakdancing on it, and thought it was like one of the sickest things I've ever seen. And I just wanted to do it, and I've always been like an ambitious person, and really just started trying to do the things that I saw on TV. And that's really actually how I got into dancing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So with that is what was the next step? Because obviously, like for me personally, like I look at it, like I watch World of Dance now. Yeah. So You Think You Dance just came back on. Like I love the World of Dance, and so I'm really up to that. But I've always wanted to do it. But the step of actually like trying to do the moves, trying to do the stuff, like for me, like I was like tried it. I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So like, what motivated you, I guess, or what kept you going? Because I know for me, like, I always wanted to try to break dance, but then it was like quickly I was like, this is really, really hard. Is there anything that like made you keep pushing through, or is it just more of you loved the challenge of it?
So it was actually very, very, very hard. I was not flexible. I was not strong when I first started at all whatsoever, and I just kept doing it, and I had some friends that were into it, and me and all of my friends, it was kind of like a game, we'd go to quote unquote practice and just throw ourselves around and kind of just mess with things that we would see, like I said, on YouTube or on TV, and playing around like that actually got us some moves where we're like, oh, this is kind of sick. And then after getting all these moves, some of them fell off because, like I said, it's very tough, very hard. You get injured pretty quick with a lot of the stuff. But like I said, I'm very ambitious, and it's kind of like working out. When you reach one goal, you're like, okay, I'm ready for the next goal, right? So it was like that. I got these moves, and all I wanted to do was just keep improving myself.
So did you have a good support group, or was it because you said you had some friends that were like into it? For me personally, like from working out, training, whatever my venture was, I can relate to the training side a lot, where it's like when I first started, everyone was like, let's work out. And then, months go by, people fade away, people do that. So you lose, for me, I lost a lot of that. And then it became, just what I wanted.
Yeah.
And then that's where you kind of figure out how bad you want something.
Yeah.
Was it similar to you like that? Or did you have a group of people or a support system that was kind of with you throughout the whole process?
No, it was actually very similar to that. We all started, and like I said, you start getting injured. Certain moves that you start trying to practice, trying to do, you get injured, and all my friends kind of just start dropping. Like, they don't want to do this, they don't want to do this. Nobody would show up to quote unquote practices, but just me.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much support after that. There was maybe like. This was actually maybe a year in, to be honest. And
how old were you?
I was 19 turning 20, so I was 20. And there wasn't much support from really anybody else. So once all my friends fell off, to be honest, my parents didn't really support it either. So it was like no support whatsoever. It was just me with my ambition and like my mindset, really.
And at that point, at 20, did you know you wanted to like try to make, a career as this or a side hustle as this, or is this something that you wanted to do for yourself, or was this kind of just for you always like, I guess the biggest thing is just, did you know you wanted to do this on your own and teach other kids, or initially was it just, something that you liked?
Yeah.
And if that's so, when did that transition, like, you know what, I enjoy this, let's make a little career out of this, business out of this, and help other people?
So actually, I never knew or thought about making it like a business or making it what it is right now.
Sure.
When I was young, and I like I said, I started first watching on TV. People breaking on TV, people breaking on YouTube, and that was like my big thing. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be on the movie. I wanted to be on all of this stuff. So I kind of just kept pushing myself, trying to make it so that I was good enough to be in movies and stuff like that. And that was kind of like my ambition. But I lost where I was going with
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
So, like, with that saying, with your being in your ambition, obviously you can tell you've loved it, because it's been one of those things where, like, I met you, you were like, we go to the club, we go to like the bar.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was like, let's go to the floor, let's do this. I would do this random ass dance, like, and then you'd be like, all right, let's go break on the floor, do this. And like, the best thing that I respected is like, you gave no fucks. Like you were just like, I'm gonna do my thing, fuck everybody, like, and then just like have a good time doing it. Which, like, it's hard to do that, because half the people that do what you do, or like even me in the fitness industry, it's kind of like, they're gonna think like, oh, look at this guy, look at him trying to get attention, look at him trying to do this, when it's like, you honestly just love doing it. And it's like, obviously you like the attention, but like, you're not doing it for the attention.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then, so now you got to a point where so you've been dancing, how old are you? 20?
I'm 28 now.
28. So you've been dancing now from like 9 years?
Yeah.
When did you open this? Because like I said earlier, so the Funk Box Studio, and like right now, we're in it right now, and you can see the logo showing in the back, is like, when did you officially open that? And like, can you tell me the process of like what it took to finally just, I'm going to rent a place out, I'm going to do it, and like kind of like the roller coaster of emotion that can kind of be?
Yeah.
'Cause for me, like, that would be, it's hard to make that move with that support system. That's kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So I actually opened the Funk Box Dance Studio in 2014. We've been open for 5 years. I did close for a year, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Do you need to be louder?
No, you're good.
Okay,
bro. Yeah, no, you can hear it.
Yeah. So I opened 2014, and it was tough. Making something out of, for me, breaking was hard, because there's nothing like it here, right? So what are the odds that my business is gonna do well in a few years? How am I gonna be able to sustain myself if I've never actually even owned a business, or back then had any idea about any kind of business, right?
Right.
So I kind of just, I learned on YouTube I learned breakdancing on YouTube. I kind of looked stuff on YouTube, hey, how can I start a business? What steps do I need to do in order to do this? And I learned a lot. I took as much as I could information as far as marketing and the business point. And look, I saved some money and started the first space, which was on North Street.
Yep.
And it was, for a lot of people, scary. My whole family was scared. They're all like, "What are you doing? You're not even going to. You dropped out of college. I dropped out of college for this.
Right.
They're like, you dropped out of college. Like, what are you doing?" And in my head, this whole time was, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm gonna do, and I want to do this. So I kind of already had a plan.
Right.
Like for you, when you go to the gym, you already have your plan for the week.
Sure.
You already know what you're gonna do for the week, right? That was kind of my plan. My plan was, I know that I'm gonna get my space ready. I'm gonna make some flyers. I'm gonna make a Facebook page, and I'm gonna market it as much as I can, the way that I know right now. And my biggest thing was, if I quote unquote fail, I didn't really fail because I opened the doors, and if I closed in 6 months, I know why I closed.
Right.
I know what I need to fix next time so that I can reopen again and not fail.
Right.
So I kind of took that big step without being afraid of failure. The big step that I took, I kind of just wanted to. I knew that if I closed doors, I learned something out of it. So to me, failure was never in mind. To me, failure was never like. It never scared me or
Sure.
pushed me away from doing something that I wanted to do.
Which is, I'd say, most people's, issue
Yeah.
with everything. Because even now, with me, it's like, I turned down like a $40,000 a year job. That would have covered almost all my expenses. I would have to do a few things on the side.
Yeah.
And, I'm engaged, trying to plan a wedding, do all this stuff, and having a conversation with Bree, which she's been supportive with, but it scares the crap out of her. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to work side jobs. I'm going to side hustle. I'm going to do lawns. I'm going to do all this while trying to promote my business and do my online coaching and stuff.
Yeah.
So I can completely relate that it's like, but it's one of those, all these jobs that I'm looking at are just going to be there. So
Yeah.
it's like, the degree part is hard because, especially, I don't know how your parents or what their mindset is or what kind of mentality they have with school and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of people, you got to have your degree, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think the biggest problem, especially, depending what you need to give up. Like right now, it's all about like, can you live a minimalist lifestyle and what can you lose? And like, I feel like most people in their 20s really don't have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
And you can always probably get a job that you'd almost get at another point.
Exactly.
So but it's scary, like you said, to go all in. So what are some ups and downs that you've seen since you started the studio, whether it's getting people in, the outside struggles of people trying to doubt you, the ups and downs financially. What are some of the highs and some of the lows that you've seen over the last like 5 years?
Yeah.
Having the studio.
So the biggest part about the way that I carry my life, it has to do a lot with breaking, right? And breaking, something that I learned, breakdancing, I call it breaking. The biggest thing that I learned in breaking is to always be 100% you. Always be yourself and care about what anybody else thinks, right? So you mentioned people that doubted you and all that. People can doubt. People can think whatever they want. I had probably 50% or more people who doubted me, or in school, teachers and things would tell me that I would never make it or never do anything with breaking, and that's kind of like, it almost fueled my fire in a way, because
Yeah.
okay, you say that now, but just watch, or stuff like that. So for me, as far as whatever people think, it doesn't, that this is my life. I'm gonna live my life to however I want to live it. You can waste your time thinking about whatever, judging my lifestyle or whatever, but it's not gonna make it or break it. So I know I don't really pay too much attention to that. as far as the business, when I first started, I had no idea about
What
a
you're getting
business.
into?
I had no clue, nothing. I just knew like basic marketing strategies, like flyers or Facebook page, share it to everybody, you know,
Right.
or do like free shows and get your word out, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Or, but as far as business side, I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to keep track of my income. I didn't know how to keep track of my money at all.
Right.
Whatever, you know. And
You got it. You're like, yep, here it is. Cool.
dude, literally, I would show up. Okay, here's the thing, and it's like it was almost uncomfortable at first, like asking for money for something that you love. Was that me? That was me. Sorry.
I think so. Woo! It sounded in my ears. I was like, all of a sudden, I was like,
I
oh. It's all good. I didn't have a clue. I thought my computer just freaked out on me.
I forgot that my Bluetooth was connected to my.
No, that's cool. It's no worries. It's just like a big spike. I was like, whoa. But
So going back, I almost felt uncomfortable asking for money for
I
something that
100% get that.
for something that I love doing.
Yeah.
But within the 5 years, I realized that I'm not asking for money.
Right.
For I'm not asking you to give me money. I'm actually, you're paying me for something that I'm doing, not just for the community, but for your child, right? Because
It's a service.
yeah, it really is. The way that I focus my business, I don't really like to just teach breaking. I like to teach a lifestyle, and I like to teach like positive energies. I like to teach kids to be able to know who they are, be themselves without caring about anybody else, and also like have a goal and reach that goal. You know, like that kind of like
It's a
lifestyle.
culture you're creating.
Yeah. So it's, people go out and pay for therapists. People go out and pay for life coaches. It's similar. There's that need.
Right.
There's that need. So I wasn't asking. That's how I felt at first, was asking for money, but so that was a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I can relate, because it's like, so for the hardest part when I moved to Boston was we were charging anywhere from $83 to $95 for 45-minute training sessions.
Yeah.
So, and we wouldn't do monthly contracts at the time. So I was asking a minimum of 24 sessions to like all the way up to 100. So it was like $2,280, so $2,280 up front for 24 sessions,
Yeah.
all the way up to $7,700 up front for training.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you're like, hey, here's in 1 hour why I'm good enough that you're gonna invest $7,000 into.
Yeah.
And then like, so when you start to, it took me months and months and months to get comfortable, because then eventually you get to the point you're like, number one, they're coming to you, maybe they don't know exact pricing, but they're coming to you for a service, so they know it's gonna cost something. And then you got to realize what area you're in, and then pricing yourself accordingly, and that's part of it. It's like, you're giving them a service, you're giving them something of value, and that's just the rates where I was at.
Yeah.
And, I had to disassociate coming from like, Berkshire County.
Yeah.
We're training around here, you're not charging 45 minutes for $95.
Yeah.
So, that was hard for me to, and people willing to pay $2,000-3,000 up front.
Yeah.
That was something I wasn't used to. So in that fact, it's an uncomfortable situation, but when you can get your mind wrapped around of like, you're giving them so much value in that hour or multiple hours a week that it's well worth that.
Yeah.
And like, you have to like know what you're giving them, and they're paying for a service.
Yeah.
That that's the big thing. And then I love what you said regarding to like, you're not just teaching them how to dance, which is what technically they're charging for.
Yeah.
You're trying to like create a culture, create an environment, motivate them, inspire them, like help develop them as like a person.
Correct.
So let's argue that they would even get more. They're getting more than they actually asked for.
They're not. Yeah, it's kind of like they're investing their money. They're not paying. They're really investing their money into themselves. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some things you've done with the studio? Because we talked about before we got on the podcast about you've traveled all over the place doing it. What are have you done any local things, and then what are some of the big things you've done, like whether you're going to different countries and traveling around, like whether it was you or a team, what are some things that you've done That've been a lot of fun for you anyway.
Yeah.
Within the studio.
So the whole 5 years of my dance studio have been fun. Except for
As he smiles.
except for one time that I got really injured. But besides that, the whole 5 years have been like, it's been like a roller coaster. It's
That's
been
awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I actually I try to bring back a lot of things for the community. When I first started breaking, there was no breaking around.
Oh yeah.
There was really nothing for the youth. There was nothing positive that said, "Oh, hip hop is a positive thing. Hip hop is like, I want my kid to sign up for real hip hop stuff
Instead of a sport, it's
exactly.
Like a dance, right?
You know, so back then it was not, and everybody always has like this judgmental thing about hip hop, like."
I was gonna
it's
say, is there a
negative.
culture thing, right?
Oh, it's huge. It's like, it. Okay, so me being a part of it, you know, I've tried to throw a lot of events, and as soon as people know what the event is for, they shut me down.
Really?
Yeah, and this doesn't happen anymore because I've proven myself, and I've shown enough to the community that it's fine now. But back when I first started, it was like, no, you know, or parents wouldn't. That's one of my biggest problems when I first started the studio was kids didn't want to sign up their kids to, quote unquote, break their necks.
Right. Break your necks, and I'm sure there's like that stigma of like rap, hip hop, like
being violent,
gangy, like all that stuff.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, you know, hip hop does have that, unfortunately, in it as well, but it's like the good and evil of everybody.
Sure.
I always take the positive out of everything, and that's what I teach. You know, I don't bring any negativity at all. I don't bring anything that's gonna corrupt somebody's mindset. You know, so that was one of the biggest things that I actually had to encounter for the longest time, from opening to maybe like 2 years ago.
Sure.
And but yeah, so I actually try to bring a lot of things to the community to show that, to prove that. So I've done a lot of free shows for the community. I've done a lot of stuff like that. I've brought competitions. So yeah, I do travel a lot, whether it's in in the region or outside. I do travel a lot to competitions. And I bring a lot of that stuff home too, because I want my students to see what I do when I travel too. So I bring a lot of competitions home. I've traveled many places through just breaking. I've gotten flown out, or I fly myself out to competitions. I've gone to many countries, so it's like it can bring you so many places, and it can teach you so much from just being a dancer.
You're good. No, I'm just editing something.
Okay.
I was picking up some of the cars outside, so I was catching it. No, you're good though.
But yeah, I mean, it's been an awesome ride, and I actually enjoy every second of it, even though there is things that do catch me off guard or are a little tough. I'd rather be doing this than be doing something I don't like.
Sure.
You know, I'd rather be having issues where I am instead of having my whole life be an issue.
Yeah. Are you at a point now, and I don't know if you're comfortable saying this, are you at a point now where you're working and doing other things on the side, or does this get you by enough right now where you can consistently live right now at this point?
So I closed my business for a year because I moved to Europe. Before I moved to Europe, I was fine. I was living off just the business, and it was perfectly fine. I actually haven't worked in a year.
Yeah.
So,
He's like,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
I actually have worked. I can't say I haven't.
Right.
I've worked, side jobs and little stuff here and there. But now that I just reopened, I do have other jobs that I have to.
Till this kind of gets going again.
Yeah, and I ended up getting this job also dancing.
Cool.
So I might keep that as well. But
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's cool though, because I mean, I wanted to tell like the tale. I don't want to be like sugarcoating things and tell people that it's just like smooth sailing. You just follow your passion and things are gonna go well all the time because there's a roller coaster of it. But no, I appreciate you being honest about that and kind of like what it takes now to kind of get things going again.
Oh, it took me like 3.5, maybe 4 years fully to be able to actually start making some kind of money out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it takes time because people see the like, oh, you got your own place, and they don't see the amount of time and effort that goes into it.
All the time, and it's almost like people think that I have all this money in the world.
You're loaded, bro.
Like all the time because I travel or because I have a business, and it's not like that. Like I travel on a budget all the time. Yeah. All the time, no matter, I could have my own business. I could be, have good revenue at some point. But I'm not. I always travel on a budget, always. Like there's not one time where I actually, maybe my honeymoon. I splurged myself.
I don't blame you.
But that was my honeymoon.
Right.
Besides that, I always travel on a budget. Like I can tell you about all my trips. I can tell the people where the places I've stayed. Like it's always been on a budget. Sure. And it's not me being cheap at all. It's just me wanting to travel. People are always like, oh my God, well, you've been through like all of Europe and all this on a budget.
Yeah.
I have, like I'm not loaded.
You're not staying at the 5-star.
I'm not. No, dude. I either stay at friends' houses or hostels. There's times where I've had to do worse. But the things that I've seen, the things that I've learned, it's like
we probably appreciate things more.
Yeah, I don't really care. Like sometimes there's been times where I'll share a room. Like I said, in a hostel, sharing a room with like 20 other people. When I'm in London, like when am I gonna be in my room?
Yeah.
I literally just go show up, sleep, and then get to see and learn and I don't know, experience a different country.
Yeah. Well,
so,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's like that. A lot of people do think that. A lot of people do think that you're loaded.
Right.
And a lot of people think that you need $1 billion to travel the world when it's not.
Well, I guarantee 95 to 99% of people listening are not willing to. They're like, oh, he went to London, he loved it. It must have been crazy. I'm sure he had an amazing time. But to like do something like that, even stay in that kind of situation, most people like love their comfortable situation. They want the A, B, C, and D lined up. But to do the things you do, you have to sacrifice different parts of it to do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. For somebody to be, I think, and you don't have to listen to this part. You can take whatever you want. But to me, to become successful, you have to be uncomfortable at times, and you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because, like, even the first step, opening up the doors to a new studio, not knowing whether it's gonna take flight or not, it's kind of like it's a risk, and that's uncomfortable itself.
Yeah.
So you just have to get comfortable with it. There's gonna be times in life where it's gonna be like you're gonna be put into uncomfortable positions when you're just like you don't know how to get out of or whatever, and you just have to get comfortable with it. You have to get comfortable, and the only thing that you can do from there is take a deep breath and push forward, move forward with whatever it is.
No, I love that because if anyone knows me well, like really well, that I literally can't stand like mediocrity. I can't stand, and when I say that, I always get this double-edged sword where I get some people that are like, "What do you mean, man? Like, oh my God, like, what are you saying? Like, I'm average, or you hating on me?" And I'm like, dude, it's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying like, the idea of being like this my entire life, working a 9 to 5, is like the most nauseating thing to me.
Me too.
And it got to a point where I made good money, and and I still wasn't happy, building someone else's business.
You do.
And I may not be a good entrepreneur. This may not work out, but like the idea of once I start feeling like this, like I don't last long in places. Like if you go back, it's like from 21 to 23, 23 to 25, 25, 20, like every 2 years I'm changing jobs or changing.
Yeah.
I'm going to school, then associates, then degree, then a job, then another job, then another job. Because I get to a place and I feel like I'm just staying like this and I'm not growing anymore. And then I just can't stand the idea of being here. If you're truly like pumped up, if you're like if you're making 40 grand a year and you love life, I'm pumped for you. If you love working 9 to 5 and you hang out with your kids in the evening, that's pumped for you. But the majority of people aren't. Yeah. And not saying everyone's an entrepreneur and wants to be a business person, but like it's as simple as like the internet and stuff like now. You can make money doing anything. Anything. Like let's just say like I'm in this like flip game. I'm flipping stuff for fun. If you love football, you could just buy and sell football stuff and like make money doing it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can start a podcast. You can start a YouTube channel. Like just talking about different things. Like there's ways to make money or like a side hustle to do it. But I love that because I think once I get comfortable, I become like not the same person anymore. Yeah. I'm not enjoying myself. And I just think that's the most important thing is once you start getting comfortable, it's time to change something. Correct. And
it becomes like a flat line. Yeah. Like a plateau, and you're just like,
now what?
Now what? I mean, I'm comfortable. I used to do this job at Hillcrest. Yep. And dude, I made so much money. Yeah. I was 18, I think, or 19. Making so much money. I would work overtime, like all of this, and the money was good, but I was not happy. Yeah, I wasn't happy.
And it's funny because I'm pretty straightforward and blunt on this. So like my last year, and I've told pretty much everybody this, so I don't even care saying it. My last year, I made 80 grand in Boston, and I was on pace to make 90 grand my last year. Yeah. But the thing was, I had a lot of days I was leeway, but I was always on the phone. I was always emailing. I didn't feel like I ever had a breather. And at the end of the day, like, it was like, am I just gonna work more hours to make more money? Like I was making the money, save some money. Now, would I take the money now and love to pay off debt and stuff? Yeah. So there's different views on it, but in general, like, I still wasn't happy. And the idea of me not taking a job and just going all in on myself, there is some risk because of my situation I'm in, but at the same time, it's like, I'd rather almost ride and die by my own sword and just like and it's almost like you put yourself in a situation, even you're talking about, is like, you have no option, you have to make it work. Yeah, correct. Like if you force yourself to have no plan B, like you have to make it work, it's almost like you have to do it. Yeah. Where like if you give yourself like, oh, if it doesn't work, I could do this or this, it's like it might not work. Yeah, because you're not all in with it. Yeah, and you're already finding an excuse. You're already finding oh, I can just do this. Right.
And that's the easy way out. Like the 9 to 5 is almost okay. So here's the thing too, because I could sit here and say the 9 to 5 is the easy way out, and if you really think about it, it kind of almost is. But a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, but I have kids. Right. Oh, but I have bills to pay. Oh, but I have this. Okay. We can look at everybody. Everybody in life has 24 hours a day, right? Right. A 9 to 5 is 8 hours, right? Am I right? I'm not.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, okay, good. Okay. 8 to 4, 9 to 5.
9 to 5 is 8 hours. Okay. You have. Look at how much more hours you have. 24 hours. Let's say you sleep 8 hours a day. Right. Then you work 8 hours. That's 16 hours. Leaves you with plenty enough hours to. Okay, start working on a side hustle. Right. Right. Just every day, put 2 hours to whatever you love doing, to your craft. Okay. Like if I was gonna open a business and I'm working a 9 to 5, a breaking studio. Okay, I'm gonna put 2 hours every day this whole month to come up with a business plan, this plan. I'm gonna put this money away, and that's only 2 hours, and you don't even need it you don't even need that much time.
And I'll even argue that in your 9 to 5, I would say 99% of people aren't working 8 hours during the day. At all. Everyone has, most of the jobs anyway, especially around here, you have 1 to 2 hours. Yeah. At least a day where you're bullshitting. Yeah, exactly. And you could totally do work there. Exactly. Like there's always more time than you expect. The question is how bad do you want it, and are you willing to put in the work to do it? Because everyone has different responsibilities and things. And that's where like the longer you wait, the more responsibilities you have, the less risk you're gonna be able to take. Yeah. So it's gonna be a big thing like that.
So like let's say you took all this time in 1 month, 2 hours every day, whatever that is. I'm not good at quick math.
It's all good.
So, you have all this time that you've already invested. Okay, so now what can you do with all of this? You already have a goal, you already have your money put aside, you already have all this. Okay, I'm just gonna go for it,
Right.
For me it would be opening a dance studio. I'm gonna drive around, look for an empty location. Okay, I'll call everybody that I can. Okay, I still have a 9 to 5, so I'm working tomorrow until 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Can you meet me at 5 p.m.? Okay, boom, 5 p.m. You meet somebody. This works. Okay, how can we work out a lease? If you ever rented an apartment, which everybody who works at 9 to 5 most likely has rented an apartment, knows about a lease.
Right.
It's the same kind of, is a little different maybe, but it's a lease. Everybody knows how to work out a lease. Everybody knows how to read and sign something.
Right.
So you come in, you figure it out, and you sign a lease, right? Now you have a spot open, but you still have your 9 to 5. Okay. Let's say I have to, because now I'm paying for rent here, that's another, you could say that's another responsibility. But if I've done my job right, I know that I can teach after school, obviously, because I target kids. So if I work 9 to, or whatever, I get out of work at 4 o'clock, right? 9 to 5, 4 o'clock, whatever.
It's all good.
Yeah.
You're working 8 to 4 today.
8 to 4, right? I work at 8 to 4 job. I get out at 4 o'clock. So I'm gonna start teaching just classes from 5 to 7:30 p.m. every day. I already created a schedule because that's what I did the last month.
Right.
So I'm just pushing all my information out. That last month I also created a Facebook page. So I'm putting everything out. I already shared it with everybody. I have money aside, right? Whether it covered the rent or whatever, I could maybe promote myself, or I could whatever. My business is already running. Kids are walking through the door. I'm making some money.
Sure.
Right? That's all it takes. Then you work a few months. You're still your 9 to 5, 8 to 4. You work a few months that and your business. You should be able to, if you're doing it right and you're really committed, you would already have your business running where you can just leave your 9 to 5.
Yeah. And a lot of that comes down to is what kind of lifestyle are you willing to live?
Exactly.
If you have a family and stuff, then I understand there's certain things you're obligated to do. Maybe it takes longer to build that job up.
Mm-hmm.
But you're in your early 20s, you're coming out of college, or maybe you're not going to college. Are you willing to drive a junker car, pay $1,500, $2,000 to do? Are you willing to live with 2-3 buddies and you pay $200-$300 a month for rent? Are you willing to cut back on expenses going out, drinking, partying? What are you willing to cut out till your monthly expenses are low enough where you can go all in and live a minimalist lifestyle?
Exactly.
Compared to even my situation right now. I'm a little bit because of loans and I put myself in a situation where if I could I could almost do this in a short period of time full time if I cut my expenses in half, but I can't because of what I locked myself into.
Yeah.
So my biggest advice is you need to let your ego go if you're in your early 20s and or whatever age you are, where you don't have a lot of responsibility. Suck it up, drive a junker, live in an apartment with some buddies, and cut your expenses to the minimalist amount, and stop wasting money on dumb things. Because at the end of the day, if you need $3,000 a month to get by, it's gonna take you a while to make that. But if you need $1,000, now all of a sudden you can do your business for a living and put all your energy into it instead of a side hustle.
I even when I owned my business for the first 4 years, for the whole time, I recently just bought a car because I needed a car.
Sure.
But for the first 5 years of my business, I drove beaters.
Yeah.
I drove beaters. And it's it doesn't really matter because now I'm instead of me putting money towards a car, I'm putting money towards flights to Europe, flights to whatever,
And I think that's the big part is but Instagram, Facebook, social media, like societal norms, like you see everyone living the glamorous life, so you buy a bunch of dumb shit.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to live up to an expectation, which you're not even like. Why do you buy a BMW? It's a cool car, sure, but like, are you buying it because of the view of what people will see you as, or you actually love the car, paying $600 a month?
Exactly.
You have to weigh out, like, actually think about why you're doing things. So a couple more questions, and then we'll finish it up. But I wanted to touch base on a little bit. Is you talked about in the past getting injured, different things like that. Obviously, there's overcoming all that, and there's a mindset to that. So what are some how do you, when you get hurt and have a setback, still moving forward? And then also, I want to talk a little bit about fitness and like how that maybe has helped you a little bit, whether it's getting stronger, the nutrition, whatever it may be. Yeah. If you don't mind talking a little about that.
Yeah. No. So actually, everything I do, it's almost like that lifestyle, like that fitness lifestyle, because I consider myself an athlete, and I have to, if I don't eat correctly, so I'll just start from the beginning. You have to, I stretch every day, I work out every day, like as much as I can, because if I don't take care of my body physical wise, I'm just gonna fall apart doing what I do. Nutrition wise, same thing. When you work out, right?
You got a fan.
So when you work out, nutrition is the biggest thing, right? To be able to sustain your muscle, to be able to get the gains, the goals that you want, and be able to feel great, right? Like nutrition plays maybe 90% of
it's everything. Whether you're building muscle, whether you're losing weight, whatever it may be, like feeling good, it's the end, and it's the end all be all.
It's the same thing with breaking, because so I stretch every day and I work out every day, right? But I could do that, and what if I ate Burger King every day?
Right, you're gonna feel like shit.
I'm gonna feel like shit, and my body's not gonna get all the proteins, all like the proper
nutrients, all those things, yeah.
For my body to if I stretch every day, but if I'm eating this garbage, I'm not gonna be as flexible as I could be, right? And so on with the strength. So yeah, I try to keep my lifestyle as healthy as possible. I try to drink water as much as I can. It's a big thing, and it also keeps my head clear, When you eat a lot of garbage food, it almost like affects your moods. It affects the way that you really like take things in.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. So it helps you out, but I actually got this really, really bad injury. I hurt my spine. Yep. And I was actually out
for a herniated disc, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did it because I wasn't being healthy.
Right.
I wasn't.
Got tight.
I wasn't stretching. I wasn't working out. I wasn't taking care of my body. And with the stuff that I'm doing, I have to do that. So I hurt my spine pretty bad. I was out for 8 months, 9 months. I actually almost had to close the studio for that reason. But it took me a while to bounce back. It almost puts you into like this place where you're in depression. Actually, no, it puts you into this depression place, and you can't dance. You can't do. I couldn't dance. I couldn't do what I wanted to do in my everyday basis. But I don't know. I think it's just the mindset. It's my ambition. Yeah. I want to. I know what I want to do in my life, and I know what I want to be. And I know that if I just stay in this mood and depression and just like I took a whole year off, I'm not gonna be able to be better anymore. Like right. I just lost everything that I worked for. If you keep that negativity up, that's it. That's the end of you.
Even the business side of it too. You took a year off that, so it's like, it's easy to come back in and be like, oh God, I gave up everything. It's not gonna work.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
Actually, they both go together. I set my mind to be better than I was before my spine injury by working out every day, stretching every day, eating healthy, and really taking care of my body. And I'm way better than I was before my spine injury.
Sure.
I'm 1,000 times better as a dancer and as a person, I think, than before my spine injury, right? I still feel it, but it doesn't stop me, and it hasn't stopped me at all.
Cool.
And it's the same thing with the business. I closed for a year, went to Europe, moved back. It is taking me a little bit to get started, but it's just gonna be better now. It's gonna be better because I already did it for 5 years. I know the good and the bad out of it, and and again, if anything bad comes my way, again, I have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable so I can push forward, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it. So before I ask my last question, where can people reach out to you, see you, find you on social media or wherever it may be?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook. My personal Facebook is Andres, Andres Ramirez. Maybe you can tag it or something.
Yeah, I'll put it in the box so you can get that.
Yeah, because I know it's a little weird to spell.
Sure.
You can find it on Facebook also for the Funk Box Dance Studio. And you can give us a like there too.
Yeah, cool.
And then on Instagram you can find me under Andres, my name, _ Funky Little Beast.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. So the last question I have, I like to end it with, is kind of, do you have any other questions? Anything off the top of your head? No? Okay, so the last question I have is, if you had to give advice, because I have a lot of people that come or listen just for the mindset side of it too, but if you have someone that's on the verge of debating what they want to do, whether it's starting their own business, keeping their job, maybe they're not happy in the situation they're in, career-wise, what is a piece of advice that you could give them that may, help them make the right decision or maybe impact their life in some type of way? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think my biggest advice is figure out what you want to do, where you want to be, where you see yourself, and without fear, go towards that goal. Go towards it. No fear. Really, block fear out of your mind, your mindset, out of your, it doesn't even exist. That's the biggest thing that I could say. And you'll see, you just keep pushing forward. It'll be uncomfortable, but you will be successful, and you'll be able to find happiness with whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish or be.
Sure. Cool. I love that, man. All right, cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate it on, man. If anyone wants to get in touch with him, I'll link his Instagram for him and his personal page, Funkbox Studio, Facebook, everything in the description box. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, direct message me on this, Facebook, YouTube, however you want to reach out. And again, appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And we'll see you guys next time.